meeting. We want to say this is the meeting, Northampton County Board of Commissioners, held on this Monday, April the 1st. We have come together to take care of the business of Northampton County. You do see behind me, of course, our mission statement. That is what we adopted at the beginning of the year. You also see there is our vision statement. What we see we will be doing in days to come. We are so glad that we are able to come together, that we're able to continue to make Northampton County the best of the 100 counties. So at this time, I want to say again, welcome all of you to our meeting. Glad that you come and join in with us. For those on Facebook, we're certainly glad that you could join in with us, and that you will see the agenda is given to us. It's given on the table on my right is the agenda. Also to our citizens that are here, if you have a reason to make any comments, feel free to fill out the form and give it to our clerk, to the board, and then we shall proceed. And at that time, we shall call you brother. At this time, we're going to have a moment of silence. Let us know that all around us so much that is going on. Let us take a moment to get our breath, and let us take a moment to do whatever we want to do during this moment of silence. Thank you so much. At this time, we do live in the United States of America. We do acknowledge it's the best place to live. So we asking you to please join in with us if we can do the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much for joining in with us. Board members, before you, you have the agenda. Before we get to the agenda, we want to make sure that we have a quorum. We do have a quorum. We see Mr. Edwards is on. Mr. Edwards, good evening. We do know that we do have a quorum here, so we shall continue with our meeting. At this time, you do have a copy of the agenda. The agenda is been given to you, forwarded to you last week, Friday, I believe, and you have that agenda. You had an opportunity to call the county manager to let me know that there anything that we need to change on the agenda. So you do have that agenda before you, and at this time, I'll ask if there are anything on this agenda that you would like to not have on this agenda. Are there any other items that you would like to add to the agenda? Attorney?
Chairman Tyner, there is one matter that would ask to be added. Mr. Jeff Brooks, I believe, is present on behalf of the North Carolina Division of Information and Technology for a presentation to the board.
Thank you. Are there any others? If not, can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the agenda as follows for today's meeting.
Have a second.
Second.
Moving proper second, that we would abide by the agenda that we have with one additional item. You ready for the question? All in favor, let it be known by you saying aye.
I, Broadnax Taylor.
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion is carried. Thank you so much, board members. Now we have the conflict of interest statement. We'll ask our attorney, if you would, to please read it for us tonight.
Yes, sir. In accordance with the rules of procedures adopted by this board in section 153A-44 of the North Carolina General Statutes, it is the duty of every member present to vote on all matters coming before the board unless there is a conflict of interest as determined by the board or by law. Does any board member have a conflict of interest with respect to any agenda item coming before the board today? If so, please identify the conflict and the board will consider the matter.
No conflict, Broadnax Taylor.
No conflict.
No conflict.
No conflict. There'll be no conflict. Thank you, board members, for letting us know that items on our agenda, there is no conflict with you. At this time, we will look at our consent agenda. And perhaps before we do that, probably need to, yes, let's do the consent agenda. Consent agenda. The consent agenda is that item that we had at our last board meeting. Some board members wanted more information. They have received that information, and I bring it back to you tonight for your approval. Board member?
I make a motion, we accept the consent agenda, the property sales, that's what it was, correct?
Yes.
Second.
Second.
We probably second that we would accept consent agenda. There any questions in discussion? If not, all in favor, let nobody use the sign aye.
I, Broadnax Taylor.
Aye.
Come on, Mr. Edwards. Aye, ayes have it. I think he said aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carried. Thank you. Am I right, Mr. Edwards?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. At this time. Robinson, have you got any? Yes, ma'am.
Citizens, for those who signed up, and if anyone else still would like to sign up, there's a sign up sheet to my right, at the front of the room. When you're recognized, please approach the podium and speak into the microphone, and identify yourself. You will have 5 minutes to address the board. If you have any questions of the board, you will receive a response, after tonight's meeting from the county staff or a board member. The board will not respond or otherwise engage in a dialogue with you during your allotted time. Under North Carolina law, this period is allotted on the agenda for citizens to make commentary on county business. This is not an open forum to be publicly critical of the performance of any county commissioner or county employee, and the chair will maintain the order and decorum of the meeting. Thank you. Commissioners, I have one comment sheet by Miss Sylvia Vincent.
Good afternoon.
Good
Hampton
afternoon.
County Commissioners. Thank you so much for the good things that you do for our county. My name is Sylvia Vincent. I'm here tonight on behalf of my family and community because we are concerned about the number of solar fields that are being placed in the volatile community in which we live. That is Cherry Tree Road, Oak Grove Church Road, and on Highway 46 in the vicinity of Gaston Missionary Baptist Church, all within a 5-mile radius. In this community alone, you have already zoned acres and acres of land for solar panels. Some have been installed and workers are there every day installing more. I have several questions that we would like for you to answer. And when I finish reading it, I have a packet that I would like to give you all that has the questions on it, okay? Number one, before even considering zoning for these panels, did you give the public any information about your intentions to fill this community with solar fields, meaning public forums? Number two, have you established protocol for solar companies to follow? If yes, what is that protocol? Do you have a check and balance system for it? Number three, did you research land degradation, impact on humans and habitat loss for wildlife? Number four, did you research the harmful materials that are used in the panels when manufactured and the effect they would have on the environment in Northampton County? What happens when damaged panels go unnoticed and substances leak into the ground? What is your plan to dispose of old and damaged panels, meaning your decommission plan? Have you set aside a limited amount of solar fields to be constructed in Northampton County? Or are you going to just fill the county up with as many as solar companies want to install? Have you limited the number of panels to be placed on a single tract of land and the number of fields you will construct in the community? Have you taken the time to get in your vehicle and investigate the number of fields in the county, the appearance, the maintenance of them, the number in a particular community, and the closeness to residences? We are concerned, very concerned, about what's happening to the farmland in Northampton County. We urge you to bring to a halt the solar fields you are allowing to come to our community. Look for and research other sources of revenue for this county that might bring jobs to the residents that live here, jobs that are meaningful and long-lasting. The solar fields' unattractive appearances are long-lasting. Mind you, they will eventually contaminate the soil. They certainly destroy wildlife and their habitats, and they bring only a handful of jobs here. I have here an aerial view, and I have it in the package for you. I have an aerial view of one solar field owned by Solar Energy, so close to two couples' homes. One of them moved to another state. The other one is very dissatisfied as what is happening. This is being installed off Highway 46 West in the Voltaire community, consisting of approximately 800 acres or more of land. There is also one being installed directly behind Gaston Missionary Baptist Church that consists of many, many acres of land also. I also have a zoning map of land that has been zoned for more solar fields in the community that we live in. And I was told that there are more coming. We all embrace clean energy, but we don't want our homes, communities surrounded by solar panels. Please develop and pass a moratorium that limits the number and size of solar fields that come to our county, especially around the communities that we live in. My name, all of my contact information is on the presentation that's in this packet. This is a copy of the zoning map for Cherry Tree Road and Oak Grove Church Road. Now, I only have part of Cherry Tree Road, but I think I have all of Oak Grove Church Road. And then also in the area of Gaston Missionary Baptist Church, where they have the solar panels. Now, all of those solar panels are within a 5-mile radius in a community. And so we just would like for you all to bring it to a halt. Look at it. See if you want that in your back door. And thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman,
They will respond and we will, even have our economic development get back to in person. We will be back into letting you know what the rules are, where we are. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right. If there are another, with another, okay, board members?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
but could you make sure I get that packet that Ms. Vincent had? I get it from Ms. Roberts.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We'll make
Thank you.
sure Joe will. Ask special information. Along with Mr. Faulkner, Commissioner Paul. Okay. At this time, we're going to note that we have on the agenda, proposed candidate appointment to the, Lake Gaston Weed Control Council. Board members in your package, you have a letter, stating that there is a person who they are recommending to be on their council. And, board members, I would like at this time to recommend that we would, accept Larry Lyles to the board of directors of council. Was there any other applicants?
Yeah.
There were no other applicants that we have on file. All the citizens know if you want to be on any of the councils that we appoint, or you just fill out the application. And if it's not a vacant now, we'll keep that application. And when the time comes, when there's a vacancy, we will be able to have your name submitted as one of those who might be interested in that position. So at this time, you do have the information about Lyles in your folder. Do you have any questions about Mr. Lyles or any concerns at this time?
Chairman, I don't seem to have the completed application in my packet. And I was going to ask, where is Mr. Lyles from? A little bit about his background. I don't want to hold out meeting up with that, but I didn't have that in my packet.
Chairman,
Yes.
I did request the information from them, and they don't do applications. But I did ask for the information.
So they didn't have.
No. because he
So,
already
Mr.
served
Mr.
as
Chairman.
counsel for reappointment, but I did ask.
Okay, yes, sir. Mr. Evans.
Yes, sir. I serve on the weed council, and the weed council does not do applications. They do by the appointment letter, and I think Mr. Zimmerman, to the clerk's, point, submitted the letter on behalf of the weed council. Last meeting was on the 15th of March.
The weed council themselves have information. We don't have it. If you want to request it, we can get it.
So Mr. Dr. Edwards, you're familiar with the person?
Yes, ma'am, and he's an advocate for, weed control on Lake Gaston. Yes, Commissioner, Barnex Taylor. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. If he's good with you, he's good with me.
Okay. Any other? Any other? Mr. Martin,
No question.
can I have a motion that we would appoint him to the weed council? please?
Mr. Chairman, I move
I'm
appointment
looking
of,
for a motion.
yeah, I hear you loud and clear, Mr. Chairman. I move approval of Mr. Larry Lyles to the weed council.
Okay, can I have a second?
Second,
Move the promise. Second, and Sly will become a member of the weed council. Are there any questions, any discussion? If not, all in favor, let know by you saying aye.
I Broadnex Taylor.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it, motion is carried. Thank you so much. At this time, we're gonna ask for, Brownswell, North Carolina Department of Transportation, if you please come forward, talk about the West Road, turning lane problem.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Board of Commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity to come speak with you this evening. I believe do we have the presentation available to,
Have a hard.
are you going to put it on the screen? It's working. All right. Sounds good. And I'd also like to thank Ms. Robertson and the county manager for working diligently with me to get me added to the agenda so I could come speak to you all this evening. But again, as she's getting the presentation going, My name is Brooks Braswell. I am the project development engineer for Division One in Edenton. And formerly I was the resident engineer here in Hosky. And I was the one that got the R 2582A project started before I moved on to a new position. All right. So again, thanks for having me. If you would maybe, or do I have control of the presentation? Okay, good deal. All right, I'm here to present the West Rock Trailer Yard project to you all. We have identified. Okay, we have identified this area as having some safety concerns that we would like to alleviate. Currently, the amount of traffic going in and out of the West Rock Trailer Yard tends to stack up in their driveway and then spill out onto NC 46, causing delays and disruptions to the mobility of traffic moving through this particular part of the roadway. So I went and met with the West Rock company and kind of presented our idea to them and told them that we have some funding available that we may be able to secure. And we've kind of developed this as a preliminary drawing so to just kind of demonstrate what we're up to and what we would like to put in place along NC 46 to help alleviate those traffic concerns that we're having in this part of the corridor. So what we identified was that we would like to install a left turn lane in the northbound direction. And we are exploring the idea of adding a right turn lane into the facility in the southbound direction. So, what I'm here tonight is to ask for the board support by form of resolution to support this project. So, as far as the merits of this project, there have been roughly 6 accidents over the past 10 years just in this area of this driveway. They've not been extremely catastrophic accidents, but we would like to prevent that by installing these two left-hand turn lane and possibly the right-hand turn lane, provided that funding is made available to us. But most of the accidents that have occurred here in the past 10 years have been rear-end accidents or side swipes where people have been trying to get around the tractor trailers that are stacked in the highway. So that's what's prompted this particular project, and we would like to have your support in hopefully remedying the issues that are occurring here at this particular driveway. Now, the project, I did include the estimate for the project. Currently, just to install the left-hand turn lane would cost around about $820,000. Now, we can support that hopefully with your support as well. We can support that with our high impact, low cost funds that we have available, but we have to make that request to our counterparts in Raleigh to actually secure those particular funds. And as part of that request package, I need a resolution of support from the board to pursue the project. We are also in conversations with West Rock to hopefully maybe they would help facilitate this project as far as the left-hand turn lane and the right turn lane, if they would add additional funds themselves to the project. But for now, I'm fairly sure that we can secure the $820,000 to at least install the left-hand turn lane. We will have further discussions with West Rock, and then hopefully we can secure extra funding to install both. So, but as of right now, I need to secure what I can from the 2024 funding source. So, that is all of the presentation that I have about this particular project. So I guess now I would ask that the board take this my presentation and my presentation as evidence of the issues that we're having at this particular site, and hopefully vote to support this particular project.
I've spoken to Jason Morris myself. He talked to me about
Okay.
this and he's really concerned about the safety there, especially there's a little bit of a curve coming from one direction, Gaston, and the traffic stacking up there. He's concerned that it's a matter of time before there's a serious accident.
Correct.
So I support this.
Likewise. On me. You have any questions? about it?
If there's any concerns or questions, I'd be glad to try to answer.
When will this start, the project start?
Well, currently I've got to secure the funds, and that would take, takes board action from the Board of Transportation. And currently I'm tagged on their agenda for May. But once the funds get secured, then we will actually have to design the project, produce the plans, and then actually let the work to contract. So it could be anywhere from 9 to 12 months before we get this process underway and actually let. But this is the first step in the process to actually secure the funds so that we can pursue the project.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes, sir. And what you're looking for us, yes, sir. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And what you're looking for us tonight is a component of a resolution. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, we're gonna do that, after we answer all the questions that you might have.
Thank you.
Okay.
Safety is priority. Thank you, sir.
Yes, safety and mobility is our top priority.
I had opportunity Friday evenings going there for grandchildren playing basketball.
Mhm.
It really needed that, especially I know on Friday.
Mhm.
It's about impossible.
Yeah, so you experienced the trucks in the highway?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
In the highway, they're there for 15, 20 minutes too. That's a long line. I guess Friday evening might be supposed to be the day when all of the trucks in trailers.
Yeah, it's at certain times, it's not all day, every day,
Right.
but at certain times when they stack up and spill out on the highway, it creates a tremendous problem for that area. So we're gonna do our best to hopefully remedy that issue.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Hmm?
At this time, board members, you have in your package resolution for an ask this time, attorney would read for us the resolution that we have developed for this project.
Certainly, you'd like me to read it?
Yeah.
Chairman Tyner? Okay. Board members, there's a proposed resolution, excuse me, entitled Northampton County Board of Commissioners Resolution in Support of West Rock Trailer Yard Project. Whereas at its regular meeting conducted on April 1, 2024, the Northampton County Board of Commissioners received a presentation from Brooks N. Braswell, Project Development Engineer with the North Carolina Department of Transportation. Whereas Mr. Braswell provided an overview of a project known as the West Rock Trailer Yard Project, which involves the addition and construction of left and right turn lanes along North Carolina Highway 46 at the existing West Rock trailer yard located between Garysburg and Gaston, North Carolina. Whereas it is anticipated the project will alleviate congested traffic and reduce existing safety hazards at the site. And whereas the North Carolina Department of Transportation plans to pursue high-impact, low-cost funds, which is a state funding source to deliver the project at no cost to Northampton County. Now therefore be it resolved that the Northampton County Board of Commissioners does hereby issue both its support of the West Rock Trailer Yard Project as presented and its appreciation to the North Carolina Department of Transportation for its efforts in pursuing this project to improve the roadways of Northampton County. This is the first day of April 2024 and signed by Charles R. Tyner, Senior Chair.
Commissioners, could I have a motion that we would adopt this resolution?
Make a motion, we adopt the resolution as presented.
Second,
Properly second, adopt the resolution. Are ready for questions? Another question? If not, all in favor, let us know that you sign aye.
I, Broadnax Taylor.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you so much. If you need any additional help, please let us know. Any additional letters, please let us know.
Yes, sir, I certainly will. And I guess you and I will work together on getting that document to me.
Yes.
It's, okay. Well, and before I go, I guess, are there any other DOT questions that you all would like to ask while I'm here? I don't believe Division One has been here in quite a while.
And we need them to come. I would not do it tonight, but.
I just understand. I understand.
See, I'll click to the board and get on the agenda.
Mhm.
We got several questions, we got several problems in the county that we need to ask you about.
Okay. Well, if you have questions, maybe go ahead and have the clerk communicate with me. And then maybe something that we could, at least maybe go ahead and start addressing, before we even get on your agenda.
Yeah.
No problem. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, appreciate it. Y'all have any more money for roads, let us know. We need it.
Well,
Yeah, that's what we want to hear. Okay, thank you, thank you. At this time, we have enough on the county. Need, to have an update. Greg, at this time, give us an update.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Casey Griggs. I'm the interim EMS director for the county. I hope I represent my EMS system well tonight. I want to go over coverage in the county for the past 3 weeks up to current. Start off with that gas and EMS is no longer providing EMS services. The gas and fire and rescue are still part of our first responders program. I have not known of any them being dispatched at this time. I've not been made aware yet, but they are still part of the first responder program. The county EMS system has been utilizing one of the 2 Jackson ambulance crews in the areas between Gaston Town Hall and the Gettysburg Town Hall. This coverage has been for the peak hours, or really busy times, of 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 p.m. at night. The crews have been splitting this 12-hour shift into 2 6-hour shifts. The past few weeks, I have meetings both in person and phone conversations with the mayor of Gettysburg and the mayor of Gaston in reference to an ambulance staging area and a possible structure to shelter the ambulance. Gettysburg Fire Department has made temporary arrangements such as sleeping quarters, lounging, restrooms, kitchen access, and has spared one of their bays to house one of our ambulances. This would take us from just covering the peak times, that 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., to actually providing a 24-hour coverage in the Gaston and Gettysburg area. I do want to bring to your attention that the best response areas for the Gettysburg Gaston truck will be near or right at I-95. That area is about 4.5 minutes from Gaston and 5.5 minutes from Gettysburg, the town halls. Our goal should include EMS response times 12 minutes or less throughout the county. We currently have 2 different station areas on the east end of the county, which is Station 4 in Conway and Station 7 in Rich Square. We have centrally in Jackson, Station 5, and on the far west end of the lake, Station 6. If we can manage a station near I-95, we would pretty much have that 12-minute or less response time covered throughout the entire county. I have been able to provide this coverage during the peak time hours without having to schedule any extra crews. During non-peak hours from 8 p.m. to a.m., the county has been responding. Jackson truck has been responding anywhere east of I-95, and our Station 6 truck in Henrico has been responding to calls west of I-95. I do want to bring to your attention that as far as coverage provided by Northampton County EMS, the county is providing quicker response times to Gettysburg and Gaston area than ever before. Northampton County shall begin providing 24-hour coverage to the Gettysburg Gaston area starting April 1st, 2024, this morning. So I just want to bring that to everyone's attention that we are providing service for Northampton County.
Board members? Have any questions that you would like to ask? Case at this time. Any questions? We had some concerns of making sure that all of our citizens are served within the state guidelines, and we just want to make sure they were served. And I can imagine that's why the county manager would have you come tonight and report to us.
Yes, sir.
Because since there was problems up there that we working on, that we want to make sure that our citizens are being served.
Absolutely.
What I heard you say tonight, our citizens are being served. Even heard you say in less number of minutes than they have perhaps in the past. Am I right?
That's correct.
So, board members, if you have any questions, you need to ask me at this time.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, I don't have a question, just have a comment, and just want to thank for presenting and providing the quality service of EMS to Northampton County. Thank you.
I'll pass that on to the crews.
Please do. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you for the update. At this time, health matters, you come next. Thank you.
Good evening. I come to you tonight to request approval from the Board of Commissioners to accept an addendum for AMH Tier 3 status to an existing contract between Northampton County Health Department and AmeriHealth Caritas North Carolina, Inc. We currently already contract with them, but this is an amendment with them so that we can begin providing case management services. And this amendment will let us be reimbursed at $10.17 per member per month, which is the state recommendation. And we became AMH 3-tier status in July of 2023, but going through all the process, we're trying to get all the amendments and stuff straight. And so that is what I'm coming tonight to do that. And we'll be doing this with each PHP that we already contract with so that we can provide those case management services to those people who have this particular insurance.
Thank you. Well, members, you got all the book of information about this. You have any, you need to have the book. You know, the question you need, we go straight up. Trust Mary, and she knows what's going on, but nowhere in the world I would know, and y'all small I am, but are there any questions you need to ask her this time?
Got one question.
Mhm.
Explain to me, Ms. Vick, briefly about Tier 3. When you say Tier 3,
What does that mean?
what does that mean?
Okay. So there are 3 different statuses to the advanced medical home system. And previously, before July 2023, we were considered a 1 because we were not providing those kinds of services. But now that we have a provider on staff and we're providing primary care and we do the after hours, all of that, we were able to become an AMH Tier 3. So you can become an AMH Tier 2 and provide a little bit of services, which we did because we started doing primary care. However, when we became an AMH 3, that is when you were able to start doing case management services for those members. So this will be the first time that we've been able to do case management services for Medicaid, AmeriHealth patients. And we already have done it with Carolina Complete Health back in, I believe, October. And then you'll see in your packet tonight, it's the same thing with United Healthcare. And then I'll be coming back for WellCare so we can be able to provide case management services for all of those people.
So I'm hearing you say with Tier 3 status puts us in a position in our county to serve more
Yes.
citizens
Yes, ma'am.
with additional services.
Yes, so the case management services, we are contracting with Access East, who will do a lot of we'll partner with them to do our case management services. And so they'll make sure, when I say case management, they'll make sure that these particular members are going to their follow-up appointments. If they have a referral to go somewhere else, they'll make sure that they're going to that. If there's any barriers to care, they'll find out from those citizens and bring that information back to us so that we can make sure that we are doing everything in our ability to meet their request and help them to better their care.
Thank you.
Mr. Evans, any question? Morning.
I don't have any, none.
No question.
In other words, you telling us we're moving on up.
Hey,
Okay, that's
We're
what-
getting there. We're getting there.
Thank you. You get us there. At this time, could I have a motion to approve what she has presented to us, this book? She has presented all the information.
Can we do both of them at once since it's the same thing or?
I think they have to be separate because it's two different.
Okay, all right,
Two different.
okay. All right. Make a motion, we approve the contract amendment to American Health Caritas of North Carolina.
second,
Moving properly, second. Healthcare, Martha, North Carolina. Any questions, any discussion? Any questions? If not, all in favor, let nobody you sign out.
I, Broadnax Taylor.
Aye.
Aye.
I say, thank you. Now.
Now we got United Healthcare.
Oh,
Yeah, she's got it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So the second one that I'm coming to you with tonight is to request approval from the Board of Commissioners to accept an amendment for an AMH Tier 3 status to an existing contract between Northampton County Health Department and United Healthcare of North Carolina. And these are the same things that we are going to be able to do case management services with Medicaid, United Healthcare patients, and get reimbursed at the $10.17 per member per month, which is the recommended reimbursement rate per the state.
Now, ask for a motion.
Make a motion, we accept the amendment to United Healthcare of North Carolina's contract.
Second,
Second, we will approve this contract given to us for what care?
United Healthcare.
Right, okay. Are there any questions? Not all in favor, you know, aye.
I, Broadnax Taylor.
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Anything else?
it.
Thank you.
The new agenda items at this time. Mr. Brooks. That's
Good evening. As you know, broadband is a critical and key component to Northampton County, its current citizens and future growth. We've been having discussions with the North Carolina Division of Information Technology for opportunities for broadband expansion. The CAB program, which is completing access to broadband, is an opportunity for counties and local municipalities to partner with NCDIT to fund broadband projects in unserved areas. As such, I wanted to bring Mr. Jeff Brooks from North Carolina. Come on up, Jeff. And he's going to give the board a general overview of the program, and we're asking for your support as we venture into expanding broadband for our citizens. Please.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Thank you for having me here, even if I'm kind of a last minute insertion. Derek and I've worked kind of hard to get me in, so it's nice to be here. I was here in 2017, 2018, and 2019 when we were consultants for Roanoke Electric. And don't know if any of you remember either me or my snazzy socks from back then, but this was kind of a familiar podium place for me. So my name is Jeff Brooks. I am with the Broadband Infrastructure Office. I've been with the state for almost 2 years. My responsibility is the development of the Completing Access to Broadband program, which is funded in the amount of $400 million. The stopgap program which is funded in the amount of $90 million, and a third program called Broadband Pole Replacement, which is more oriented towards improving infrastructure in rural areas. It's kind of a cost sharing relationship between Broadband Infrastructure Office, pole owners, and ISPs. So realizing that your schedule is probably tight, I won't go through all 460 slides. I'll kind of keep it down just a little bit. What I'd like to do is sort of give you the flavor of what we do, how we do it, and the potential impacts within the county with a particular focus on the CAB and the stopgap programs, because I think these are the programs that benefit the county the most. It also gives me an opportunity to make sure that we understand among us what the BEAD funding looks like, because that's additional funding that's coming into North Carolina for broadband. So I want to say, first of all, that when I started this job, it was important to me, having won statewide grants in 14 states and federal grants in a number of locations, that everything we did should be very county-centric. So to that end, I've been to 87 county seats. This will be my 43rd board presentation. The idea is not for Raleigh to tell you what we're going to do, but in the past 2 years is to ask you how we can help you when we design these programs. We've put our first 15 bids up. They've gone up over the past 3 weeks. And in each one of these cases, each county is heavily involved in the process in saying, this is the money we want to invest. These are the places and the people that we want to serve. And that's my job, is to serve you and the citizens of your county. I don't care if you're red, white, green, black, pink, blue, rich, poor, male, female, doesn't matter to me. I'm here to serve you and to serve your citizens. By the way, I don't read slides because I hate it when people read slides to me. And I don't know how well you'll be able to see it anyway. So we'll kind of step through it and look at the pictures as we go through. This slide, which probably is totally unreadable, but it kind of talks about what we do. I talked about some of this when I explained about our programs. But another critical component of what our team does is actually citizen engagement. We handle about 60 to 70 inbound inquiries every month from citizens that call about broadband. It may come from you, it may come from the governor's office, it may come from the General Assembly. Had a few from congressional offices. When we get that email or that phone call, we will email and phone call back within 24 hours of it crossing our desk. When we email them, we will carbon copy the county manager. So Mr. Phillips says it here, but he would get a carbon copy. And in that email, we'd say, thank you for contacting us. We want to let you know that we're carbon copying Julian Phillips because he, as your county manager, and your board of commissioners are actively involved in working with our team on broadband issues in the county. From doing so many meetings, both before I came to the state and since I've been here, you'll see citizens stand up where you're not doing anything about broadband. Now, I realize, and Derek heard me say this, Julian heard me say it, you guys deal with issues like you've heard tonight. You're dealing with water, sewer, public health, public safety, trying to maintain some kind of relationship with your school board. I don't know how to do any of that stuff, but we are experts in broadband. So if you talk about what our focus is, as well as who we serve, our focus is how do we help you? How are we subject matter experts for you with a singular bias towards the county? We know all the providers. We know all the technologies. We've built used those technologies in building networks in different places at different points in our career. We don't have a bias towards those providers. We don't have a bias toward the technologies. Our bias is toward how do we help you get to where you, as elected leadership, think you need to be. Few statistics just about the county. The map's from 1911, Rand McNally. I just think it's always important to have a little personalization up there because we always have to think about where we came from. If you go back and you look at the road map of North Carolina from 1900 and 1910, notwithstanding the gentleman that was here from DOT, if you go back and look at those maps, and I didn't want to pull it from Northampton, so I went with the 1911 map, you'll see a few railroads and you'll see dirt paths marked out. Well, this is simply another evolution for the county, and just wanted to use that as an example to point that out. You'll also see a couple of tables up there with some statistics. One of these tables shows the responses that have been received to the North Carolina Broadband Survey. It's widely considered, and I know when I was doing consulting work for Roanoke, we found this to be true as well. For these types of surveys to be meaningful, you need to have about 5% of your respondents actually send us something, say, let us tell you about broadband at our location. And the county hit that number. Now, when I was doing consulting work for Roanoke, we did a survey. It was back in 2016, 2017. I went back and looked at my notes. We had about 11 or 12% back then, but there certainly was not the level of service back then that there is today. These results are from the past 18 months. They save them forever, but it really is only past 18 months that roll around. The second table shows the number of unserved addresses and underserved addresses that continue to remain in the county. I think that's important to understand what unserved means. And it simply relates to the fact that if you're a user of broadband services or internet access, and the service being delivered to your location is less than 25 million bits, ones and zeros per second, then you're considered to be unserved. So I can't do the math in my head. I think that's about 8 million characters a second. So my name would be 32 of those bits, or be 4 characters or bytes. So if it's 8 million bytes a second, it sounds like a lot until you realize about 90% of that actually goes to directing the traffic where it needs to go, correcting errors, other security parameters. So when you're talking about being on a video chat or broadcasting, the commissioners meeting, that's actually the amount of traffic that gets through. So a lot of times it limits what people can do. They can maybe do this, but they can't do that at the same time. Things have evolved over time where people need to do more than one thing at once. They need to be on a video call and not just on a phone call. They need to share video over a call and not just look at documents. I've got a lot of really nifty slides here. Not going to belabor it, except to tell you that this is kind of an overview of what the Broadband Infrastructure Office does. I'll click through that. That's some more good stuff. This is about the money. I'll talk about that briefly, and then I want to make a key point. There is $971 million was committed to broadband by the General Assembly. Out of that, $590 million is in the trunk of my car. So that's a good thing. I'm driving a 73 Fiat. It's lime yellow. And I say that because I did a presentation in Hickory and actually named my car. And somebody went out, the security guard told me, Mr. Brooks, do you drive a Volkswagen Passat? I do. Somebody's been walking around your car a lot. We've been seeing them on video. And so I'm driving a Fiat, just so everybody knows. So the goal is to get that money, which represents these 3 programs I'm responsible for, out of the trunk of my car and working in Northampton County. We distributed $350 million from the Great Grant Program. We have now $400 million to go for the CAB program. I have the other 2 programs I alluded to, but then there's a little box down there and you'll see future BEAD funding of $1.57 billion. And we'll talk about that from a timing perspective. I think I turned it off. Did I? Thank you. Just another money slide. This is actually probably the most important slide that or set of slides you'll see, because availability is only half the issue. The other half of the issue is adoption, and it's whether people can afford to use it, whether they know how to use it, know how to use it safely, do they know how it benefits them, and we make sure that that availability comes through to everyone so that no one is left out in terms of understanding how to understand this is what I need to do. This is a device I can afford. This is how I use it. This is how it benefits me. What you see on this slide when you read your copy, these are sample comments. It's kind of the same program that I did when I was with working with Roanoke. This is a consulting study for the Lumber River Council of Governments. These are some sample comments from the survey that we did because we asked for direct input as well as answering questions. You have probably heard these exact same comments within Northampton County. I know I did when I was doing the work with Roanoke. People would say, I need medical care. I can't do my job because I don't have broadband access at home. My children need to be able to study. These are exact same comments, but I put them there for reference because in some places I go, there's 2 out of 100 counties, for example, where they're not actively engaged. And you're trying to call the commissioner's attention, the population's attention to the fact, you know what, this really is an issue. It's past being a luxury. It really is part of our infrastructure that people need to understand and use. So here you see some definitions about broadband. And again, we're talking about equity Everyone has access to it. Literacy, you understand how to use it. And inclusion, we make sure that everybody comes together, no matter what your background is. One of the key weapons that we have in this, and I use that term deliberately because it really is kind of a battle at times, is our Office of Digital Equity and Literacy. Annette Taylor runs this office, and her team is working across the state, going into primarily municipalities because those areas are considered to have broadband service today, but expanding out the counties to help populations understand how to use broadband. They go into churches, nonprofit organizations, community groups, going out and not saying to them, this is how you have to do it, but instead saying, this is what we've learned from going to other locations. Let me share that with you. Why don't you share with me what you're doing? And that way we all get better. But the good thing is they back it up with money. So they just completed a round of grants, the Digital Champions Grant, and the maximum grant funding is $1.2 million per organization or $400,000 for counties. On the little chart there, you'll see on the right, those are organizations that listed Northampton County in their application. They said, we are going to take money into Northampton County to work in Northampton County in terms of digital literacy and equity. Those are organizations that said, this is, we're coming to Northampton County. So those applications are currently being scored. There were 325 of those across the state. This will not be the last round of these types of grants. More is on the way, but I just wanted to share with you that these are organizations that listed the county. So very briefly, there are a variety of programs, some of which you may have heard about, and I'm going to boop through those just so that you have you know, kind of an overview of this. If you hear people coming to you and talking about broadband and you're unsure that maybe what they're telling you is absolutely the way it is, please call us. That's what we're here for. I remember the first time I met in Martin County, they told me they got an email from somebody that said, hey, great news. We just won a great grant and you need to send us a check for $788,000. The county had budgeted $25,000 for matching funds. They'd never heard of these people. They called us up and said, what's going on here? Well, yes, in a way they had won the grant and they claimed that the county was backing them with $788,000. They just didn't bother to ask the county if the county had passed a resolution committing that amount of money. So please feel free to call us if you have questions or concerns or problems, because we're here to support you, all things broadband. Current federal programs include the Reconnect program and the RDOF program. Reconnect is a program that is managed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. It's an ongoing program, about $1.2 billion a year, administered by the Rural Utilities Service. It's a national competitive program, so it's not done on a state-by-state basis. If you have the best application, you get the money. Those grants can be up to $25 million, no interest loan up to $25 million. The RDOF program may be a little more what you've had some experience with, and I think I have a map here coming up, but I'll just kind of briefly chat about it. RDOF is a program from the Federal Communications Commission. It's a reverse auction. The FCC had budgeted $20 billion with a B for this program. Service providers could bid on census blocks all across the country. And what the FCC said was, if you're bidding in a census block, let's say in Northampton County, we believe it's going to cost $4,000 to deliver broadband to an address in that county. We're going to divide that by 10 because we're going to pay you out over 10 years. So the bidding for that census block starts at $400. So it could be that Spectrum came in and bid $400. Then Mediacom came in and bid $370. Then CenturyLink, Bright Speed, I'm not sure what their name is this week, came in and bid $340. The bidding was driven down in this reverse auction. At the end of the day, there's a winner, and it could be, yep, we got what we wanted, we can afford it, or uh-oh, we got what we wanted, this is bad because we can't afford it. A lot of counties ask me questions about RDOF. Or the service I think we provide, I'll give you an example in Greene County, in the north part of the county, their citizens were frustrated because nothing seemed to be happening in terms of this build. So we reached out to the winner, which was Spectrum, and we got the Director of Government Affairs for North Carolina, the VP of Government Affairs for the Southeast, and the Executive VP from wherever they're headquartered for Government Affairs. And we lined up in a conference call to speak to the board and the county manager and citizens to be able to ask questions, kind of put them on the hot seat. I may know, based on experience, why it takes this amount of time, but it may not apply in this case. I thought the citizens had the right to actually ask the company directly. Those are things that we do. And if you have those kinds of questions in Northampton County where there are RDOF awards and your citizens are telling you things aren't moving, let us know. We'll run that down. We will attempt to answer those questions. The future program that's coming is the BEAD program. We were originally estimated to get $1 billion in funding from the BEAD program. We did a lot of map work. Our team really went over and above, submitted the revised maps to the FCC. We told the federal government, you're wrong, we're right. They agreed. That number went from $1 billion to $1.5 billion that's coming to North Carolina for broadband. Until we spend our CAB money, we cannot bring BEAD money into the state. Most states did not put as much money into broadband as North Carolina did, coming from ARPA funding. So we've got this $400 million we have to spend, including $213 million this year to beat the 12/31/24 deadline. But again, most states, so you may read or hear about, oh, states are deploying BEAD. We'll deploy it too once we get our $400 million spent. And that's part of what we're talking about here. I talked briefly about these programs. The GREAT grant, I'm sure everyone is familiar with. I know I won a GREAT grant for this county with Roanoke back in 2018. We won about $565,000. The project that was built here was about $2.5 million back in the day. When we applied, there were 36 applications to split $10 million across the state. This last application round, there were 305 applications to split $350 million. Out of 305 applications, 211 were disputed. So they all had to be, applications had to be read, somewhere over 100 pages long. Disputes had to be read. Applications had to be read again. It took a while. All the money's out the door and we're working on CAB. I talked about CAB. I'll talk briefly about stopgap. So in terms of CAB, there are a couple maps, and what I sent to you and to Julia, and if you guys will circulate it, there are links in the back of this that you can click and actually go see these maps. And I'll send some additional stuff. I forgot to include this. I'll send it to you, so I owe you that. One of these is the survey. If you look at the survey map, as you can see on the screen, you see dots scattered almost evenly around the county. Unlike many counties, this is actually very good because it shows the breadth of your efforts in terms of getting people to commit to the survey. And again, you hit the magic number where you're over 5%. This actually goes into computations where we're looking at how can we best help the county. These are the RDOF awards that I alluded to a while ago. And I'm sorry, the FCC map does a horrible job in county lines. And I'm just not that good at trying to figure out where they are. You're going to understand this map better than I do. But where you see the green, that's where one award winners. You'll see CCO Holdings right here, and that's Spectrum. See co-op connections. That's probably going to be Roanoke or Halifax, probably Roanoke, and that is a consortium of about 23 co-ops in North and South Carolina. There's some other states as well. Then you see Mediacom, and they won a few areas as well. So these are areas, if there was an RDOF grant awarded, those are protected areas. We can't fund those in North Carolina. For an RDOF award, there's 6 years to build it out between the date of the contract, which is probably going to be late 2021. You have 6 years to build it out. They are reimbursed or subsidized over a 10-year period. The other thing, if you look at some old maps, you'll see where SpaceX was given awards. This is Elon Musk. Those awards were rescinded. The FCC decided that satellite services were not eligible for funding, that these dollars will only go to support terrestrial endeavors. And I think the obvious reason is there's a whole lot more jobs whenever you have people actually out there pulling fiber, pulling conduit, doing work on poles, that sort of thing, there is to put satellites in orbit. This is an example of the CAD planning tool, and you'll see on your left-hand side in the outset, that's a map of Northampton County. On the right side, you'll see kind of an inset for that. You'll see it's dividing these little 6-sided geographic areas called hex bins. They're about 1/4 of a mile across. And the only reason why we do that, since we're looking at specific addresses now and no longer looking at census blocks or areas smaller than census blocks, is to give you an idea of what the relative adoption rate or availability rate is within certain areas of the county. So you'll see a little bitty legend in, I got to think, your right-hand side. Yes, the same slide. In the right-hand side at the bottom, the pinker it is in one of those hex bins, the more addresses there are in that hex bin compared to all hex bins in North Carolina. So there's a higher count of locations. The bluer that hex bin is, it's the higher percentage of unserved locations in that hex bin compared to all locations in that hex bin. So where you see here that it's purple, that's going to be the highest combination of where something's going to be a higher number of addresses and a higher percentage of unserved homes. Little red dots indicate addresses that are eligible for funding. You may see green dots or other colored dots inside hex bins. It's very possible that grants have already been awarded to those addresses and they're being served or in the process of being constructed, but the hex bins stand as they are. These are two different maps that are available to you. On the left, it shows where on a hex bin basis, cable broadband service is available, and on the right side, where fiber broadband service is available, just to give you an example of the types of broadband that exist in the county today. Again, any of these that you see may still have addresses that are considered to be unserved, underserved. It's just showing you a relative percentage. Whenever you scroll over in the CAD planning tool and you click one time on a hex bin, it's going to pop up a little map or a little legend on the right. And I know this is difficult to see, but when you look at that legend, in essence, it's going to say, this is how many addresses that are located within this hex bin. This is how many that are eligible for funding. This is how many that currently have broadband access. And there's a lot of other information in there as well. So again, just to give you an idea of the kind of information that's in there. This shows, if you can see on the right, I'm sure you can't read it, and I certainly can't read the dots from here, the color, but that's the legend that allows you to say, hey, when you look at the dots, if you see a red one, this is what it means. You see a green one or a blue one. These are what those dots mean. The money. Unfortunately, the legislature required counties to fund part of these projects with matching funds. Most federal programs do not require counties or municipalities to invest in these programs, although it's an option in many states, but in our state, obviously, it is not. The way it was explained to me offline, because I'm not a lobbyist, so this was offline, the legislature said, well, when we got all the ARPA money, counties have been telling us that broadband was a really big deal. So if it's a big deal, we'll put a lot of money into it. Counties had to put a lot of money into it. 61 counties in North Carolina are disadvantaged by this because their minimum match is 35% of a project. Now, one thing about CAB compared to GRATE, the maximum GRATE grant award is $4 million per county per fiscal year. The maximum CAB grant is $8 million per fiscal year, so it's double. And the advantage that we have here is that in Northampton County, you fall into this bucket right here, which means you got to choose two programs. One where I match what you put in half and half, provider puts in the rest on some 15%. In my opinion, option A is more better. I think that's what that means. More better means you only have to put 5% into a project. So consequently, if you do the math and think in terms of what would your investment have to be as a match to maximize $8 million. Now, I'll give you an example. There's a county in the West, and I've known these people for a while, and they've been saving up their money, and they were committed to putting $3 million into the project. Looked at this chart, they said, so we don't have to put $3 million. You do not. So we could take $2 million, we could put it into the new kitchen at the high school. Yes, you could. Because they're going to, I can't give them any more than $8 million in this fiscal year. So by investing the minimum amount, they're a little over a $10 million project to come into the county with a minimum match requirement compared to these other match opportunities that might exist out there. Briefly, the stopgap program is kind of a CAB-like. Maybe I should tell you how the process works. I'll do that very quickly. I think that's important before I talk about stopgap. So what happens is last year, we actually pre-qualified service providers because in the GRATE grant program, there was a minimal amount of due diligence required for a company to participate in our programs. So what we did last summer is we published an application. And if you wanted to obtain grant funding for broadband in North Carolina, you had to be qualified. We had 69 companies apply. We passed 40. So not everybody got in, including some fairly decent sized companies. So these 40 companies are now eligible to bid on these projects. And it is a bid. It's a state procurement. Technically, it's our decision to make. I don't want to make the decision. I want the county to be engaged in making the decision. So the way the process works is we meet with the county. We determine, we had the conversation with Derek, with Julian. We have the meeting with you guys. You make a determination if you want to participate. If you do, you give us a form, county commitment form. It's not a legal document, but it says we're committing this amount of money to a project. We will then set up a meeting with a team. We've got our contracts administrator, general counsel. I may be in the meeting. We have a couple other people there, and we just confirm what you want to do. We'll take that, we'll draft a scope of work. We send it to our legal folks, we send it to outside legal, we send it to third-party CPA firm, comes back to us, we give it to you, you sign off on it, say, yeah, this looks good. We put it up for bid. There are 15 of those bids up right now. Biggest project, I think, is probably going to be $22 million. The smallest is up right now is about $3 million in terms of the total project size. This bid is up for 45 days. When the responses come back, we look at them for a couple of days. We turn around and we send them to Julian and to the other person that he's named to be on the evaluation team. So then what happens? Let's say it was you, myself, somebody else from my team, we sit and we talk about these proposals. We provide guidelines, we provide conflict of interest information. There's a subset of that we can disclose to the board. So he and Derek can work with you on how to put that information in front of the board. But there's a lot that we can't disclose. I also bring all of the results from that eligibility application due diligence process to these meetings. That's shared with the county. So not only do you have this focus document, this proposal where we're telling people, tell me what you're going to do in Northampton County. Don't care about what you're doing in Gates, Hertford, Halifax, Edgecombe. Does not matter to me. What are you going to do in Northampton County? But in addition to that, we have all these very direct questions we asked them last summer that are focused on financial, operational, and technical competence, capacity, and capability. Those answers are very insightful and they're part of this decision-making process. The only thing I can't share with this evaluation team, financial statements and bank statements. But we do calculate 10 industry standard financial statements for every bidder in North Carolina, including the companies that bid in Northampton County, and we'll discuss those, and that information is available for review. We'll talk about it. I'll look at Julia and I'll say, who do you want? Again, we'll talk it out, and if he's unsure of something, we're the subject matter experts, but we'll bring in as many technical people as we need so that he's confident in the decision. I'll say, who do you want? If he's going to make a really, really bad decision, I don't see how that's possible, having met him and talked to him a number of times, or he's going to pick somebody that we know to be a bad actor. And I'm not saying there, it might not be one of those that slipped through the nets. We'll say something like, that's a great decision. I really like what you're doing. And could we look at this other company as well? Because the county's money is in this as well as the state's money. And it's not the state's money, it's our money. Decision gets made, comes back internally. As soon as it comes back in, our legal folks review it. I'll review it with my boss and our general counsel, goes to our deputy secretary. From that point, it goes to procurement. In the meantime, the big 8 firms doing all the risk, they're doing all the background of this company in terms of risk management, risk mitigation, make a decision, go sign the contracts, we're off to the races. It could be based on the risk analysis. We see them twice a year and we have them report to us monthly. It could be that we go see them once a month in person because we manage it for the 24 months of construction. So unlike the federal contracts that extend way out, we're done in 24 months. We also monitor it for another 36 months after that, because again, it's all about trying to serve your residents. Stopgap, very briefly, this is trying to find those 3 or 4 locations that aren't covered by these big grants. For example, somebody say, well, I called up MediaCom and they said it's going to be $100,000 to serve 4 houses. If one of these big programs don't serve it, we'll identify those 4 houses. I'll review it with your county manager. We'll put it out to bid, get a response back. We'll contract it. No county money is involved in that. I pay for 85% of that. Service provider pays for 15%. Whether it's CAB, rate, stopgap, these are things, however, where the county should take credit, publicly, media, whatever it might be, for bringing this money into Northampton County, because it's your active engagement that's making this happen. I won't belabor broadband pole replacement. I think the summary there, when you read this later, is a pretty reasonable overview of it. These are the links that will be on what you have, so feel free to click on any of those links. If you have problems accessing the links, just let me know. Happy to set up a conference call to walk through it, just to make sure you clearly understand what we have. I did as quick as I could. Didn't mean to go quite as long, but I hope that answered some of the questions about broadband. I'm happy to take any questions. I will let you know that if you plan to participate, we'll probably need to know no later than April the 14th, because we need to get these under contract by the close of the fiscal year, which is June the 30th. There will be another round of CAB next year, beginning July the 1st. And again, the goal is to get all the CAB money out before the BEAD money begins to come in. So money will continue to be available. I don't know. I don't know what requirements will be on the BEAD money. I don't know if the federal government's going to be very heavy-handed and saying, all right, this is how you can bid it and this is what you can do with it. My perspective is, as long as we're doing the state funding for CAB, we're probably going to have the most flexibility to meet county needs. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Thank you very much for your time. I'm happy to take any questions.
Board members? Giving us a lot.
Yes, sir. I've done it 43 times now. It is a lot.
Yes, a lot. We're going to ask you to let us digest some of this. And without a doubt, our county manager is sick. He's in the hospital, really.
Oh,
And
I'm so sorry.
hoping he'll be all right. It's out, but we're gonna ask our county manager, economic development, to work with you, come back with to the board on what that recommendation would be for us. Okay.
That would be great.
But I, you know, just looking at not the 5% about this, we gonna be able to do, but at any rate, we'll see.
Yes, sir. And I, if you don't mind, I would like to briefly talk about both Derek and Julian they've come after it. So they're not just sitting on their hands. They've been very engaged with us. And the last time I came down here to meet with them, questions were, I spent probably an hour and a half here. Questions were spot on. They poked pretty hard. A couple things I didn't know, had to go back. They were actually asked more detailed questions than most other counties I deal with. So my hat's off to them. I appreciate that level of preparation and engagement.
Mr. Brooks, I have
Yes, ma'am.
a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, and I'm not going to bombard you, but in order for us to participate, if I'm clear, we have to come up with some money to match.
Yes,
This is
ma'am.
not scot-free.
It's, I would say that you probably would have on your county commitment form, if you wanted to maximize the grant funding coming from the state, you'd probably say we would spend up to and not to exceed $600,000 to $750,000. You're not bound to that. When we put your bid out, we'll have that number is in the scope of work. So then the service provider has to come back and say, okay, they have to exactly equal 15%. So they're going to come out with the cost of the project. So the cost of the project was $8 million and you said, we're going to do so much. Then you would say, well, my minimum is only 5%. So I'll do 400,000 instead of 750,000.
So if I'm correct, this is not scot-free for Northampton County.
It's no, ma'am.
Okay,
No, ma'am. You're correct.
that's
Yes, ma'am.
all I needed to.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Evans? Any other questions?
I don't have no questions. Thank you for presenting and coming back, Mr. Baker.
Yes, my pleasure. It's good to be back. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr.
Right. Okay, at this time, we're going to Northampton County Tax Fund.
Good afternoon. I stand before you for the board's approval of ad valorem and motor vehicle tax appeals. First, I have 11 appeals in the amount of $2,097.51. Not 10, it's 11.
Board members, we have tax policy fund these people we owe for various reasons. Give us, what's your pleasure?
Make a motion to accept the 11 tax appeals in the amount of $2,097.51.
Second,
Those personal municipal. Now, all in favor, no like you decide aye.
Broadnax Taylor.
Aye.
Aye.
I've had it.
Next, I have 10 motor vehicle tax appeals in the amount of $1,092.65.
For your pleasure, board members, have the information. Have the amount, to whom we do, what's your pleasure?
Make a motion, we accept the 10 motor vehicle tax appeals in the amount of $1,092.65.
Second.
Any questions, any discussion? Not all in favor, let know by aye.
Broadnax Taylor.
Aye.
Aye.
I have it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This kind of coming before the board is financial matters.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I will be presenting budget amendments number 84 through 90 for your consideration on this evening, as well as the monthly financial report for the month of March. First budget amendment is budget amendment number 84. That is on behalf of the Sheriff's Department in the amount of $881.22, and that is for insurance reimbursement. Budget amendment number 85 is also on behalf of the Sheriff's Department in the amount of $1,000 even, and that is insurance reimbursement. Budget amendment number 86 is also on behalf of the Sheriff's Department in the amount of $3,950.66. That is an insurance reimbursement as well. Budget amendment number 87 is on behalf of the administration, and it is in the amount of $44,877.74. And this is also an insurance reimbursement. Budget amendment number 88 is on behalf of the Health Department. And this is for ARPA funding from the ARPA Temporary Savings Fund for Public Health Services in the amount of $50,000. Budget amendment number 89 is on behalf of Department of Social Services, and this is in the amount of $1,000. And this is a donation for Child Protective Services. And the last budget amendment number 90, is also on behalf of the Health Department in the amount of $3,389 even. And this is for additional funding to environmental health.
One motion carried all the budget amendments. There is one of those that you would, or any of those that you would like to further explanation for. I think they all are here and all the documentation for here. I think what we see here is nothing being coming from our fund balance, all this reimbursement given to us and add to our receipts.
Mhm.
If you have any questions, board members at this time. If not, could I have a motion to approve the report coming from our financial part?
Make a motion, we approve budget amendment 84, 85, 86, 7, 88, 89, and 90 as presented.
Second.
Bob, second. Budget amendments. Are you ready for question? Any question? If not, all in favor, let know by you can sign aye.
Broadnax Taylor.
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Continue on. Ms. Walker.
Okay, thank you. Next, I will be presenting the monthly financial spend report for the month of March. The rule of thumb for cumulative spend was to keep expenditures below 75%. The general fund expenses are at 25.8 million at 65%. Department of Social Services, 4 million at 50%. Enterprise Fund, 2 million at 61%. Garysburg Water and Sewer, 505,000 at 64%. And Solid Waste, 1.9 million at 67%. That was a total of 62% expenditures across the funds for the month of March. Thank you.
Going on to the questions, you need to ask. Thank you for the information. We appreciate it. New board member, all you do is just, call and ask. She would give it to you. This time, we're going to note that the, county manager is out. We are certainly hoping that he will come along well. We feel that he will do. I think, I want to say to the staff, all of you, thank you for all that you're doing and having him to do the kinds of things that he is doing for Northampton County. It'd be well of me to say, speaking on his behalf, thank you, staff in Northampton County, for doing one good thing for us. Our audit is now up to date, all the way up to date. We want to thank the staff and thank our county manager for he broke record with our auditor. Our auditor said he never, in 49 years, been able to do an audit that quick. He was able to do it because of the fine record keep that our finance department has. So I just want to commend our finance department, all that you've done to help us get our audit up to date. We are literally in spending a lot of money until we, this next budget, until we got that report back. That report was favorable. All of you know, Northampton County now, without a doubt, you saw it in the paper, perhaps, probably on our web page, we are financially stable, perhaps more than we've ever been in our county. Likewise, we do know that we do have those funds that we have that's been designated. I think it's a total of like 58 million. Some of that was designated funds that we already designated projects that you will hear about as we continue on this year. So I want to say that on behalf of our county manager, it could not have been done without you. For it is only this year that we got our audit on time, and we're thankful for that. If you have any questions about the audit report, please feel free to contact our county manager, our finance department, and they will certainly answer any question that you might have. This time, I'm speaking on his behalf. He's not with us, but I know he will have me to say that to you, to the public. Thank you for helping us to have the greatest financial year that we've ever had, without raising our tax, other than this being a year we've had because of that. This didn't have anything to do with this audit as last year. So it tells us board members have done a great job in Northampton County, making sure that we spend our money wisely, have done as much as we possibly could to save taxpayers of our county, along with cuts in property tax. So at this time, I'm going to ask for comments, and I'm going to start with Mr. Edwards. You're on. Do you have any comments you'd like to make at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say thank you for everybody for coming this evening, and also earlier in the month, Commissioner Barnett Hill and I had the pleasure of visiting with our partners at the North Carolina Cooperative Extension. And we had a good presentation of the good things that's going on with the Cooperative Extension Agency. Also, on March the 15th, we had the opportunity to participate in the Lake Gaston Weed Council. 5 counties assembled and gave updates on where we are with the treatment of Lavinia and on Lake Gaston, and we are proud in Northampton to be a part of that. Mr. Chairman, and these are my comments, and thank you, and thank everyone again for coming out. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask
Like to thank everybody for coming out. As Dr. Edwards shared the great dinner we went to with the 4-H Cooperative Extension. I also had the opportunity to attend our Northampton County Chamber of Commerce. And the people there that night were the new internet company coming into Rich Square. Used to be Run It Cooperative, but now it's called Fibe. And they were there at the Chamber of Commerce talking about their services. Also, I had the opportunity, thank you to the board, for allowing me to represent you at a workshop down in Bertie County last week on trauma-informed counties that talked about how people's trauma affect the type of living in a community. That was very informative. Also, I ended up today at 2 Easter egg hunts, one in Gaston. That was a big one. That was a big Easter egg hunt. Very well organized. Kids were nice. They were given nice things. That was beautiful. Left there, made it in time to the Easter egg hunt, sponsored through the Northampton County Memorial Library. They had a presentation on dental hygiene by a representative, Miss Lynn, from a North Carolina state. And then after she presented, she told everybody, go out and eat as much candy as you want. And that's what those kids did. So that was very nice as well. So great things are happening in Northampton County, and please come back. Thank you so much.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight, and drive careful on your way home.
I want to say again, thank you all for coming, sharing with us tonight. We want you to know this board shall continue to do all we can for the citizens of Northampton County. That's what we have been doing. That's what we shall continue to do. We have to continue to keep up with all the good things that's going to be happening in Northampton County. A lot of good things that we are planning on doing. Housing program will be, money's here. We also know that annex courthouse will be, the money is here. We also want to know that Lake Gaston project will be, most of the money is here. Water, sewer, all is here. And we just plan to do some things for the county. So thank you again for coming and sharing with us. We'll be with you until December. We'll do all we can to help you. And we're going to leave it in the hands of the next board to continue and move Northampton County where it needs to be. Everybody understand that we are here for the county, want the county to move forward. Want to see the county move forward. Been here for a big number of years. We want to see it continue to move forward. So again, thank you for coming and being with us today, and continue to support us in the county. All the things we shall continue to do in the future plans for Northampton County. There be all, another board member has another comment that you would like to make at this time. If not, I'm gonna ask you at this time that we will adjourn this meeting and go into closed session on personnel, especially. That's what is appearing. And I have a motion that we go into closed session.
Make a motion, we go into closed session.
Second,
We're gonna drop second and we go into closed session. Ready? Okay. Are you ready for your answer? All in favor? Yes.
Aye.
Aye. I'm sorry.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, nay. That motion carries.